Hey, welcome to Pretty Well. Do you want to get to the root causes of your health concerns? Do you find yourself Googling, why do I feel this way? And looking for solutions to feel great again? I'm Lisa Smith, and I too felt exhausted, achy, and like I was aging too quickly. I wanted to look and feel like myself again and spent way too much time and money going to practitioners, even functional medicine practitioners, and not getting results. So I became a functional medicine practitioner myself and learned how to identify and fix root causes to health issues. The good news is there is so much you can do to reclaim your wellness. In this podcast, you'll find quick, simple, and evidence-based guidance that you can easily fit into your day so your energy will be soaring, your mind clear, and your skin will return to its beautiful glow. Let's dive in. Hey, welcome back to the Pretty Well podcast. I'm Lisa Smith. Today, we're going to talk about a topic I get lots of questions about, and that topic is inflammation. I get questions such as, what is chronic inflammation? How do I know if I have it? What are the common symptoms? What causes it? How do I get rid of it? We're specifically going to talk about the role that food plays in inflammation. Some foods that we're going to talk about today, you may know, that's not good for me. And every health condition will benefit from limiting the top foods that cause inflammation. So although inflammation is a normal part of your immune process, there is so much research that shows that chronic inflammation not only triggers chronic pain, but it also is a root cause of chronic diseases. So let's get to it and talk about what are these main foods that are definitely linked to inflammation. I already know that, but you may not realize that they are one of the leading causes of inflammation in your body. And the other thing is there will be some foods that you maybe didn't even think about. So we're going to talk about the top 7 foods that cause inflammation. When it comes to diet, it's clear that diet plays a key role in the amount of inflammation that we're experiencing. There was a study done in 2017 that found that nearly 25% of those with rheumatoid arthritis found that their diet had an effect on their symptom severity. And it's not just those with autoimmune conditions. Absolutely everyone will benefit from reducing the top foods that cause inflammation in your body. Although inflammation is a normal part of your immunity, lots of research has shown that chronic inflammation triggers chronic pain and increases your risk for developing more serious issues like heart disease, diabetes, autoimmunity, even cancer. Let's take a look at the top 7 foods that are linked to chronic inflammation. The very first one I want to talk about are vegetable oils. I had an episode with Dr. Kate Shanahan about the hateful 8 vegetable oils and how they are wrecking our health. Vegetable oils, we tend to think of them as no big deal. How bad can they be? They come from vegetables, for crying out loud. But they're not as innocent as they seem. Vegetable oils are also called RBD oils, and RBD stands for refined, bleached, and deodorized. What happens is that these oils are highly processed and refined. They're heated at extremely high heats, which then makes them rancid, which makes them smell bad and look bad. So they're being refined at extremely high heats, and then they are bleached and deodorized because otherwise they smell rancid. They smell disgusting because they're that bad for you. In addition to that, they're very high in omega-6 fatty acids. You may be thinking, wait a minute, Lisa, I thought omega fatty acids are good for me, and they are. But the problem is omega-6 fatty acids, when they're out of ratio with omega-3 fatty acids, and omega-3 fatty acids are those ones that you may take a supplement for called omega-3 or fish oil capsules. When omega-6 and omega-3 get out of balance, the omega-6 become inflammatory and they drive chronic inflammation in your body, whereas omega-3s reduce inflammation. The ideal ratio of omega-6 fatty acids to omega-3 fatty acids is around 4 to 1. So 4 sixes for every one omega-3. Most people consume anywhere from 15 to 1 clear up to 32 to 1. And one of the main drivers of this are vegetable oils. So in addition to them driving inflammation, because they're essentially a poison to your body, refined, deodorized, and bleached poison, but in addition to that, they're driving up that omega-6 ratio, causing more inflammation in your body as well. You may be wondering, if you haven't heard the Hateful Eight episode with Dr. Kate Shanahan, I highly recommend it. She's an expert in the field. She's written a number of books, and she's really fun to listen to. I'm going to link her episode in the show notes. For top of mind, if you're listening now and you're near your pantry and you want to check what oils you have, anything called vegetable oil, pitch it. I'm going to tell you what to get instead, but it is driving inflammation in your body. Also, if you have any of the next 8 that I'm going to list, they all increase inflammation in your body. Get this, whether or not it's driving that omega-6 to omega-3 ratio too high, in and of themselves, they drive chronic inflammation in your body. I'm going to list them for you. Canola, corn, cottonseed, soy, safflower, sunflower, grapeseed, and rice bran. The easy way to remember them, there are 3 C's, 3 S's, then grapeseed and rice bran. So again, canola oil, corn, cottonseed, soy, safflower, sunflower, grapeseed, and rice bran. Alternatives are olive oil. The best option is extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil, avocado oil, organic butter, organic ghee, and even unrefined peanut oil. Those are all better alternatives than the Hateful Eight. The next food I want to talk to you about is a pretty big umbrella. It's ultra-processed foods. We used to just call them junk food, but now even health foods can fall under ultra-processed foods. Think cookies, crackers, soda, juice, candy, ice cream, cereals. Most box cereals are ultra-processed junk food. Chips, all kinds of chips, corn chips, potato chips, veggie straws, don't hate me. Anything that comes in boxes or bags tends to be ultra processed. And these foods are known to drive up inflammation. Your body doesn't recognize them as real food. Real food is something that walked, flew, swam, or grew. That's real food. When it's become so ultra processed in a laboratory, and then when you read the ingredients list and you can't pronounce a whole bunch of the ingredients, or the ingredients are a mile long and you're like, I don't even know what 3/4 of those things are in that bag or that box, then it's time to put it back on the shelf and don't buy it. Keep in mind, food scientists are paid the big bucks to make these food-like substances taste amazing and be addictive and to be not satisfying, so you keep wanting more and more. Real food, do you ever say, man, I just can't stop eating that chicken? Said no one ever, because you get sick of chicken. You get sick of beef. You get sick of fish because you're meant to. You're not meant to eat food mindlessly, but that's what food scientists get paid to do, get us to eat mindlessly. So ultra-processed foods are the second one. Along those same lines are refined carbohydrates, sugars, and high fructose corn syrup. They are also ultra-processed. Things like cookies, crackers, sugary snacks, also white pasta, white bread, white rice. All of these simple carbohydrates, they go through extensive processing, which depletes them of beneficial nutrients, such as fiber, vitamins, minerals. So these refined carbohydrates have a higher glycemic index, which is how to measure how quickly foods will increase your blood sugar levels. And we know that foods that have a higher glycemic index go hand in hand with increasing inflammation. The other side of that coin is When we go for complex carbohydrates like brown rice, quinoa, things that have fiber and nutrients in it, we find that those help to prevent chronic inflammation and prevent chronic disease that's associated with systemic inflammation. The third highly inflammatory food group is artificial sweeteners. And we find that in juices, sodas, energy drinks, and all kinds of foods. One of the key mechanisms involved in these substances causing inflammation is that they significantly disrupt our gut microbiome. Sucralose, which is known as Splenda, has also been shown in mice studies to cause liver inflammation. In addition to that, aspartame, which is equal or NutraSweet, has been shown to be a neurotoxin, so inflammatory to your neurons, your brain cells. Artificial sweeteners are one of those foods that I get on a soapbox about. Do not drink them. There are some great options instead of NutraSweet, Equal, Splenda, acesulfame K. You'll see that as an ingredient in other low-calorie foods and drinks as well. They're all inflammatory and they're all bad for us on so many levels. Great alternatives for those are stevia and monk fruit are my top two favorites. I will bake with and use coconut sugar as well. That will still raise your blood sugar, where stevia and monk fruit won't. But it's not as high glycemic of a food as sugar. And it's not damaging like artificial sweeteners. The next food category is processed meats. Processed meats are those that you find deli meats, those that have been smoked, salted, cured, dried. They tend to be high in nitrates and nitrites. Things like salami, sausage, hot dogs, beef jerky, deli meats, bacon. I know, bacon. I love bacon too. So you want to get nitrate-free and nitrite-free. But it's important to know that they're thought to contribute to inflammation as they may be linked to higher CRP levels. CRP stands for C-reactive protein. It's a blood marker that is used to measure the amount of inflammation in someone's body. Processed meats have also been classified as a carcinogen by the World Health Organization, and they've been linked especially to colorectal cancer. Another food that has been shown to trigger inflammation and negatively impact overall health are foods that are high in trans fats. I mentioned vegetable oils in the Hateful Eight. Trans fats are another type of fat that has been manipulated in a lab. It doesn't occur in nature, and it's been shown to be highly inflammatory. Processed trans fats are found in fried foods like fried donuts, French fries, potato chips, chicken nuggets, fried chicken, mozzarella sticks, and even some crackers and snack foods that you get in the grocery store. They're linked to elevated cholesterol levels as well as metabolic problems such as diabetes, heart disease, even cancer, but they are thought to trigger inflammation as some studies have shown them to be involved in higher CRP levels. Remember, that's that C-reactive protein as well as interleukin-6. Those are different markers of inflammation in the body. The last category I want to talk about is alcohol. We've been told that red wine can be healthy and anti-inflammatory because of the compound resveratrol in red wine. And while that may be true in moderation, excessive alcohol consumption in general absolutely has been shown to contribute to inflammation throughout the body, inflammation of the liver, and get this, it has also been linked to leaky gut and dysbiosis, which are two additional causes of systemic inflammation. Excessive alcohol consumption throws off your gut microbiome, so it actually ends up killing off some of the good bacteria, which allows bad bacteria to flourish. Some of these bad bacteria are gram-negative bacteria. They have on their outer cell wall something called LPS, which stands for lipopolysaccharide, which is an endotoxin. That means it's a toxin in your gut. That toxin then triggers chronic inflammation in your gut and throughout your body systemically. So how do you reduce inflammation? Since this episode has been about dietary causes of inflammation, the first place we're going to go is the diet. First of all, eating an anti-inflammatory diet is key. And what does that look like? That looks like a plant-rich diet. It doesn't have to be only plants, but you want lots of plants, such as vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, Healthy fats, like the ones I mentioned earlier, olives and olive oil, avocados, and those omega-3s we talked about from fatty fish like salmon, anchovies, sardines, and mackerel. In addition to reducing or eliminating those top 7 inflammatory foods and adding in more anti-inflammatory foods, you want to make sure that you stay hydrated. That looks like at least 64 ounces up to half your body weight in ounces. That helps your body's natural detoxification processes. You want to make sure your water is filtered so you're not adding more toxins in as you're staying hydrated. Another important thing to do is to breathe deeply throughout the day. So many of us breathe very shallowly in the very upper part of our chest. We don't even pay attention to it. I am completely guilty of this. It's important to take a step back and remember to breathe deeply. You can do it when you wake up in the morning. That's a great way to habit stack so that you remember to do it. You can do it before you go to bed at night. Again, habit stack. And of course, you can do it if you're feeling stressed out or anytime throughout the day. My favorite is box breathing, where you breathe in for a certain count, you hold your breath for that same count, and then you exhale for the same count. For example, you might breathe in for a count of 6, and then hold that breath for a count of 6, and then exhale for a count of 6. Then wait for a count of 6 and do it all over again, just like making a box out of each one of those steps. Making sure you get enough sleep is absolutely essential to reducing inflammation in your body. I'll link some of the episodes that focus specifically on how to improve your sleep. Getting regular exercise helps to improve circulation and lymph flow and has been shown to reduce inflammatory markers. Addressing stress through prayer, meditation, quiet time, reading, restorative exercise, anything that helps you to reduce stress is so important. It's shown that when we reduce stress and we switch out of fight or flight and we bring that cortisol down, we're also bringing inflammatory markers down. And finally, spending time outside. First thing in the morning, if you get outside and get 5 to 15 minutes of sunshine, you help to produce more melatonin, which helps you sleep better at night, and you produce better neurotransmitters like serotonin. All of these work together in synergy to bring inflammation down. In addition to those steps, diet, hydration, deep breathing, bringing stress down, improving your sleep, restorative exercise, spending time outside, supplements can be extremely helpful in reducing inflammation. Some of my favorites, omega-3 fatty acids. My favorite brand is Nordic Naturals. They are third-party verified, which means they are not going to have toxins like heavy metals in them. And they have a great variety of options. For instance, they have a higher dose omega supplements, so you don't have to take as many. And they also have one that has vitamin D in it. So if vitamin D is something you're already taking, you could replace your vitamin D supplement with this Nordic Naturals that has vitamin D and omega-3 in it. Another supplement that I really like, and in a way, I like it better than omega-3s for bringing down inflammation, is called SPMs, Specialized Pro-Resolving Mediators. And SPMs are the active ingredient in omega-3s, but it's concentrated so that it has more of an effect on reducing inflammation. I'm going to put links in the show notes for all of these because it's helpful to know the brands and the best options. So those are my top 2 favorites, omega-3 fatty acids or SPMs. I also love boswellia. That is from frankincense. So if you're an essential oil lover like me, I love frankincense. It's one of the most magnificent oils there is. Well, the active ingredient is called boswellia, and some supplements that are anti-inflammatory supplements have boswellia in them. Sometimes they're combined with curcumin or turmeric. You can get a combo supplement that has both turmeric and boswellia in it, which gives you a synergistic effect, also a very potent anti-inflammatory supplement option. A couple others that are important are vitamin D. It plays a significant role in immune function and inflammation reduction. And magnesium helps to reduce inflammation as well. If you've ever noticed that once you start taking magnesium, your muscles aren't as tight, they don't cramp as much. And that is for your entire body, not just calf muscles or a certain part of your body. Magnesium helps to bring inflammation down throughout your entire body. A couple questions I get from a diet standpoint are, does gluten cause inflammation? Does dairy cause inflammation? And the answer is yes, but it depends. Some people have allergies to gluten and dairy, the protein in dairy, which is called casein. And some people have sensitivities. Those are different types of intolerances with foods. Either way, if someone has a sensitivity, an intolerance, an allergy, then those foods are incredibly inflammatory to them. So to be clear, when it comes to gluten, there's celiac disease, non-celiac gluten sensitivity. However, if someone doesn't have any of those sensitivities, gluten may still cause inflammation in someone, not so much because of the gluten, but because of how gluten products are processed. Many of them are sprayed with Roundup to stop the ripening process just as they are being harvested. Then those grains are milled into flour with all that glyphosate, that Roundup already in the grain. So a lot of times gluten foods are inflammatory because of that as well. Another reason gluten foods can be inflammatory is what the flour is in. If it's in baked goods with sugar, if it's been refined and it's white flour, those are more reasons why gluten can be very inflammatory for people. For some people, they can tolerate gluten and it's not a problem. If you're one of those people, that is awesome. Enjoy your gluten foods, but be sure to buy them organic because then you're not getting exposed to glyphosate and Roundup. When it comes to dairy, dairy affects people in different ways. Some people are fine on hard cheeses and fermented dairy, like plain yogurts and kefirs, and some people can't consume dairy at all because they might have an allergy to the protein in dairy called casein, or they might be lactose intolerant. For a lot of people, dairy causes bloating, inflammation, skin problems like eczema, acne, breakouts, also lots of digestive problems. Another problem with dairy is that a lot of it is ultra pasteurized. That means it lasts for a really long time. If you've noticed that your half and half or milk seems to last so much longer than it did 10 years ago, that's because everything has been processed out of that milk or that dairy product, and it lasts forever because there are no enzymes in it anymore, and it just doesn't go bad for a really long time. That's a red flag that a food is inflammatory and not a healthy option. Food is meant to go bad. So if it doesn't go bad, kind of like those crackers and chips and different things that last forever. You've seen those TikToks and those reels of things like McDonald's French fries that were found 2 years later and they still didn't smell bad. They didn't have mold on them. There's a reason for that. That's not real food. Real food goes bad. Interestingly, some studies show that A2 milk is maybe less inflammatory than regular milk. Regular milk is a combination of A1 and A2. And what that's referring to is the type of protein in it. You're not going to just come across A2 milk without looking for it. It's not like, oh, this organic carton of milk must be A2 milk. The only way you're going to get A2 milk is if you buy one that's specifically labeled as A2 milk. But if you do, some people find it to be less inflammatory. It's a different kind of casein, a different kind of protein. And that for some people, they tolerate it better from a gut standpoint, and it doesn't cause inflammation. So if you don't have a problem with casein in general, meaning if you don't have a dairy allergy or a dairy sensitivity, then you might do better on A2 milk. I know that Costco carries A2 milk, and I looked into it, and it says it's from the USA. Some A2 milk is from the USA, some is from China. So if you're getting A2 milk, that you see where it's sourced from, that's pretty important. But anyhow, dairy, again, is one of those it depends scenario. It can be very inflammatory for lots of people, but for some people, it may not be as inflammatory, or maybe you'll do better with a fermented version or an A2 version, or goat's milk is even another alternative that is less inflammatory. So if you have access to goat's milk, that might be another option when it comes to dairy. To wrap up today's episode about this top 7 inflammatory foods, we know in general that acute inflammation is a good thing. If you end up getting a cut or you have an injury, you want inflammation to go to that site and protect you from infection and pathogens. But when inflammation becomes chronic, that's when it becomes a problem for us and becomes destructive, and it becomes a root cause of chronic disease. Food is one of the main things that we can control that either fuels the fire of inflammation in our body or reduces inflammation in our body. So being wise in our food choices goes a long way to either exacerbating chronic inflammation or to start healing chronic inflammation. We talked about which foods to avoid. We talked about the anti-inflammatory foods to add, and then some other lifestyle choices to make that will help you to reduce inflammation in your body as well. We also talked about some helpful supplements. As a side note, it's always easier to add more things in than take them away. So as you add more of those anti-inflammatory foods, then you crowd out your diet for the inflammatory foods, and that's where you really start to move the needle. I hope you found today to be helpful. Drop me a note and let me know what you think. I look forward to talking with you next week. Until then, stay pretty well. Bye.